Trump Jr., oh my gosh, what a pleasure to talk to you. Also really cool because you were just here. I mean, I feel like we're kind of homies now because you were just in Billings.
I was in Billings, I guess, 2 weeks ago, headlining the Montana GOP event over there and just having a good time. It's sort of a great excuse to be able to come back into the state and do a little bit of fishing, do a little shooting, catch up with some of my good friends in the area. So when they ask me to do those things in like New York, it's like hard pass. When they're like, "Hey, would you come out to Montana to do something?" I'm like, "Okay, that I can do."
Absolutely. How long have you? I mean, obviously this is gonna be a little different interview than most, probably because we're not as deep into politics here as a lot of places you talk. But I just want to know more about you. Like, when did your love affair with Montana develop? Because I know this is nothing new for you.
No, not at all. I've been coming out for a long time. Let's say, when I graduated from business school, I moved to Colorado for a year and a half to be a bartender and just get some stuff out of my system before, sort of entering the family business and or the real world. And so, I always loved out west all through college and high school. Basically, as soon as I got a car, I'd work for 2 months of the summer and take the last few weeks off and just drive out west. Mostly then it was summertime, so it was, fishing and perhaps some bow hunting. So I'd been doing that since I was probably, 17, 18 years old, and continued to do it in college. When I lived out there, I did it and just covered all the western states and everything like that, and then just really kept going back out every summer or whenever I had an opportunity in the fall for hunting season. So I've been doing it for 20 years now, and just I love the state, love the people, love my friends there, and it's sort of a great place to get away from New York.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's such a cool thing to just have people appreciate the state. I'm born and raised here, and haven't left, so it's just nice to see, people that get to come from the big city and, really enjoy it out here. Why is it we don't have like a Trump HQ out here yet? Why isn't the family set up a place?
Well, listen, I think for me, it's a place where I want to go to get away from all of that, not going back into work mode. So, maybe someday, but right now it's just a place I go to enjoy, and had the great ability and great fortune to make a lot of friends in the area, really all over the state, east to west, and I go out there a lot. I'm probably out there 3 times a year, and a little bit more these days with politics. But again, when I do the politics stuff, I'm able to usually squeeze in some, at least some fishing, sometimes some shooting if it's in the fall. You never know what's in season, and I always have my Montana tags, so it's just a great place.
Oh, I love it. Your dad also, obviously, I'm much more like your dad. Like, I appreciate, obviously, all you outdoorsmen and stuff, but I'm like a, fat, lazy guy that just watches a lot of Netflix. So, your dad probably doesn't do as much hunting and fishing out here, but he also loves, anytime he can get out here too, right?
Listen, I think it's such a great, picture of, real America. Sort of just, it's such an awesome place, and the people are so good. I think he appreciates that. I mean, those are so many of the people and the mentality that he was fighting for in 2016, and continues to do this day. I mean, these are good, hardworking, God-fearing people, and I think that resonates. I mean, I think we won the state so handily. I mean, these are people that get it. They get the message. They realize they'd been left behind, and they're into what he's doing. And I think we want to continue that because, it's an important place, and it can't be forgotten.
Absolutely. We also, if you're thinking about it here, I know real estate prices and stuff. You can imagine like $3 million is probably topping out for right around like the Billings area here. We have got a house that's listed for $16 million right now in Billings, Montana, that some rich dude who now is like in federal prison and stuff screwed a bunch of people over on and didn't pay back. But if you guys are looking for it, it's gorgeous, and it has a shooting range right in the house.
Well, that's certainly a plus, but it's a little scary what's going on, and sometimes even the real estate prices there. I mean, every time I'm on a plane going into Montana, I'm sitting next to someone from California who's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm moving here." I'm like, "Please don't make Montana into California. Please don't do it. For the love of God, leave them alone.
Exactly,
leave them alone.
Keep some of it for us." Well, your dad, obviously, speaking in Great Falls. What do you think going to be? What are we going to go over? Obviously, tax cuts going well. The Supreme Court justice thing is huge. What do we think some other big issues for the president to talk about are?
Well, listen, obviously you have a big congressional race with Gianforte. You have John Tester. I think, when you look at his record, it doesn't really line up with what I think the average voter in Montana voted for when they voted for Trump. I mean, someone who sides with Schumer 90% of the time. And more importantly, I think that just the character flaw of sort of the Ronnie Jackson attack when he went after Admiral Ronnie Jackson, who my father appointed to try to run the VA. He just kind of went on TV, made these false allegations about this guy who's a great great man, great American, incredible veteran serving in the Navy, and just sort of went on TV to attack him simply because my father liked the guy and wanted to give him an opportunity to do something special with unfounded and baseless allegations, going and smearing this guy's name. Because to me, we can disagree on politics. We can say, hey, I don't like this policy or I like that policy. That's fine. But when you just sort of arbitrarily attack someone's character, that to me is the thing that would probably resonate most with the people of Montana. Because again, I think they're all understanding that we may have a different outlook or perspective as it relates to politics, but attacking someone's character with baseless allegations, doing so viciously simply because you don't like my father, that is a problem, and that would not resonate at all well with the people that I know very well in Montana. I mean, that's a much bigger character flaw, than disagreements in politics. And then, I imagine he'll cover some of that too, because we thought it was disgusting.
Yeah, so that's going to probably come up. How big is your dad's got to be on cloud nine about this Supreme Court nominee, right? I mean, this is just it's like God's gift to the right. I mean, for decades.
Yeah, listen, it's an amazing thing, and I think it's important because you need some you need some normalcy. When you look at the positions of the left, I say, if my father came out in favor of oxygen, the left would be against it. You see all this. Now, they have a problem with anyone who would be a Supreme Court nominee. They would have no problem if, it went the other way and Hillary Clinton was in there and they were all liberals. It'd be the greatest thing to ever happen. And that's the media bias that you see out there. I mean, you have the media and the left just hand in hand, in lockstep. And, really what they haven't yet realized is that, and this is why it plays so well into Montana, is that they forgot about the dark zone in America, which is everywhere between New York and Malibu. That whole middle part of the country, that whole big red, block of the country has just totally been forgotten, and they're not getting it. They don't get that those people matter. They vote. They have families. They want to take care of them. They don't need to be subsidizing people who hate us, like you see so many of these left-wing politicians want to do. They should be taken care of before people who haven't, who don't belong here, who aren't here legally. That's not what we're seeing. So when I see these left-wing politicians and their policies today, I'm like, man, it's like I'm watching Comedy Central. Like, it's a caricature of what you would think a politician would be. I mean, they're literally taking every anti-American citizen position you could possibly have, and they're like, this is our platform. I mean, what are they? They're against my father's economic platform, which has brought in millions of new jobs. They're against 4.5% growth. Don't forget, in the debates, my father said, hey, why can't we hit 3? Maybe even 4% growth. Maybe even better than that. They laughed and they laughed. You can't do it. Just because Obama never broke 2% doesn't mean someone with some business sense, someone who's actually accomplished something, someone who's actually hired people and run businesses like my father can't do it. Just because their Messiah couldn't do it doesn't mean that someone with actual experience couldn't do it, and he's doing that. Look at the job numbers across the board. Okay, all-time low black unemployment. All-time low white unemployment, all-time low Hispanic unemployment, 60-year lows for females. So basically, that's the last time that was during the ramp-up of World War II. So essentially, all-time low. Everyone is doing better under these policies. So they can scream and they can rant and they can rave, but hate is not a political platform, and that's all they have. They want to undo all-time low black unemployment. They want to undo the greatest job numbers in the history of the world. When the New York Times, not exactly a fan of us or my father, when they say we don't have, and I quote, we don't have the words to describe how good the job numbers are, guess what? His policies are working.
Yeah.
This isn't Obama's overtaxation, overregulation, smother business to death, finally kicking in. Guess what? It's the elimination of all of those things that's actually making this work now. So, I think people have to realize that, and they have to remember that just because my father's not on the ticket, the Trump voter, they say, well, I love Donald Trump, I'll do anything for Donald Trump, but they got to remember, just because he's not on the ticket in 2018 does not mean that all of those policies, that all of that winning isn't on the ticket. So they got to get out there. They got to stay motivated. They got to get volunteer, get your friends out, vote, make a difference, because it can all go away.
I believe that across party lines, across everything. I'm just such a proponent of voting and getting even slightly involved. It doesn't take that much involvement to at least kind of basically understand where people stand and who you agree with more. It's like, right. I hate how disengaged, especially young people are. It's just like, get engaged a little bit. It's so important.
Yeah, well, that's the real problem. They just listen to the soundbite. They see a tweet, oh, this must be the case. I mean, by the way, that's the case in Montana. Look at John Tester's voting record. Look at the things that he did. You can't try to, show up on Fox News every once in a while, 2 weeks before an election and pretend you're all with the MAGA agenda, but you're voting against tax reform. You're voting for gun control. You're voting for it's just not the Montana that I know. And yet, when you have all this California and New York money pouring into his campaign to try to sell a false message just to get it reelected, that's a problem. So, you see that soundbite because they control so much of the media. They sit there and they're peppering this message. It's really all nonsense, but people have to go beyond sort of what they're seeing. You got to remember, we're not fighting a fair fight. The media is not going to give us an equal shake. It's a very one-sided conversation, so you really have to go out there and do a little bit of research to see what's really going on, because you're not going to be told. You're going to be told whatever you need to hear to show up to vote for them. That's what you're going to hear. And then the next day, they're going to go do exactly the opposite. They're going to go vote with Nancy Pelosi. They're going to vote with Chuck Schumer. That's why Montana's important. You have a very important Senate race, and you also have an important congressional seat up with Greg Gianforte.
Thank you, sir.
So, people have to get out and support these candidates.
I like when we're complimented like that. Again, I agree. We are very important here. So you brought up watching Comedy Central with how crazy the news gets out there sometimes. Speaking of that, what do you think, Donald Trump Jr., of the impression Mikey Day does of you on Saturday Night Live? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it kind of funny? Too mean? How do you feel?
Honestly, it's not that funny anymore, unfortunately, because it's become so political. Like, I used to love Saturday Night Live. I thought it was a great, the old school Saturday Night Live was amazing. I had to watch reruns of it for years. Now, they're trying too hard. I think the impression's kind of funny. You know what I mean? I think it never gets that harsh. I think I could help him out with the hair a little bit to get it right. But it's fine. But I think, unfortunately, generally the show is it's such a one-sided. It's not about comedy anymore. It's just about spewing hate. And so, I think that's why probably the numbers are down pretty significantly, because they got no other material. Maybe they got to try something else. The old show used to be incredible. I mean, it was brilliant stuff, but we haven't seen that in a long time.
Do you at least, when you get together with the family, at least give Eric crap that he's the dumb one on SNL, and at least you're the wise brother?
Unfortunately, I don't really watch the show anymore, so every once in a while I'll catch the snippets on social media and stuff like that. But I'd be doing that with Eric anyway. I was doing that with Eric for decades, long before it ever happened on SNL.
I was going to say, yeah,
it's just a big brother love kind of thing.
As a big brother, I totally know exactly what you're talking about. Now, it's way more fun once your brother's actually successful and doing stuff. It's more fun to poke fun at him then. So.
Yeah, it's fun anyway.
Exactly. We gotta one of these days. You gotta put this in the back of your pocket and just know that obviously the president's time's important. He talks to a lot of people. One of these days, I just want him to slum it and talk to us here in Montana. We've talked to President Clinton before. I want to even things out and get a right-wing Trump on here sometime for a 5-minute, quick whatever he wants to talk about to the people of Montana. So just know we're available.
Sounds good, man. I'll try to make that happen.
I love it, and I hope. Are you coming to Montana or just Dad this time?
Yeah, no, I'll be there as well. So, I may try to help out, open up for him, which is sort of probably a waste of my time, simply because once he's in a room, it's sort of, it takes all the energy out of there. But like I said, for me, any excuse to see some of my friends. I was sort of a different part of the state a few weeks ago, and so now at least I'll be able to catch a couple of my buddies on your side of the state now and see them and say hello. So I'll be there as well.
Perfect. Well, there you guys go. Still time to get up there and get to the rally, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Great Falls. Check it out. It's going to be great. Donald Trump Jr., sir, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Likewise. You guys have a great day. See you soon.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.